الحمد لله وكفى وسلام على عباده الذين اصطفى أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وأتموا الحج والعمرة لله سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون سلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين اللهم صل على سيدنا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم. I don't know, people, why are they sitting so far from me? Move forward, inshallah. You can bring your chairs, inshallah, forward if you won't feel like you have to sit on chairs. Alright, one thing that all the rulings that we are studying is, as was said in the email, that they are derived from Mukhtasar al-Quduri and the other books, which are the classical texts of the Hanafi fiqh. So I'm mentioning a few things that people do not follow Hanafi fiqh, they follow Shafi'i fiqh or any other fiqh. If they have any specific questions, please we can raise afterwards. If there are big key differences, I'm highlighting those for the people who do not who follow any other fiqh. So, but if there are any specific questions, please you feel free to ask at the end. If I know that, I'll let you know. But if I don't know, then inshallah you can refer to your own scholars. But majority of the things they are almost very similar. So inshallah it should help. A few key differences though, but I recommend that you follow, and I'm assuming people have seen the text before coming here, and they know what are we doing here, so that there is no, that's why we want to very clearly highlight that. So alright, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. There are 3 types of Hajj, and we'll go over that in a minute, inshallah, what types of Hajj. But Prophet ﷺ, he performed multiple Umrahs and one Hajj, and as I said in the beginning, there are differences. Some scholars say that he performed more than one Hajj, but what is, at least for sure he has done one Hajj, and for sure he has done multiple Umrahs. And before the Hajj that he did, he also performed an Umrah. So it's a sunnah to perform an Umrah before the Hajj, and inshallah I'll tell you in a minute the types of Hajj that are there in our Sharia. 2 of them has Umrah before the Hajj, one does not have the Umrah before the Hajj. But it is sunnah to perform Umrah before the Hajj. And to perform Umrah or Hajj, both, there has to be something that everybody needs to be in, which is called state of Ihram. Okay, there are few things. One is Ihram. There are very similar terminologies. One is Ihram, 2 is Haram, and 3 is Masjid al-Haram. Very similar wordings. So Ihram, Haram, Masjid al-Haram. Ihram is a state of people, and inshallah we'll just talk about it in a minute. Haram is the sanctified place outside the Kaaba. So there is like a boundary around the Kaaba, which is all classified as Haram. Haram means that, it's a sanctified place, and there are a few things that are not allowed. They are haram in there. That's why it's called Haram. It's not just the masjid. And Masjid al-Haram is the actual masjid, in which the Kaaba is located. Right? So that is Masjid al-Haram. So there is a boundary around Kaaba, that's not like a square boundary or a circle, that's like an irregular boundary, but it is defined. It is defined as the place which is Haram. Okay, H-A-R-A-M if you want to say it in English, or Haramim, Haram. And ihram is a state of the people. Alright? So people have to go into the state of ihram before doing Hajj or before doing Umrah. And once people put ihram, there has to be an intention. And you put ihram you make an intention for the ihram for what you are going to do next. So there are three types of Hajj. One is called Hajj Tamattu', the second is called Hajj Qiran, and the third is called Hajj Ifrad. In Hajj Tamattu', what you do is that you put on ihram for the Umrah. Okay? And after you're done with Umrah, then you take off ihram. You basically, when you say take off ihram, means you come out of the state of ihram and you redo your ihram, or you re-enter into the state of ihram before Hajj. And you do your Hajj with that. This is Hajj Tamattu'. Hajj Qiran is that you put on your ihram for the Umrah and the Hajj together. So basically what you do is you do your Umrah, you do not come out of the state of ihram, you remain in the state of ihram and you do your Hajj with the same ihram, and then you get out of the state of ihram whenever you are, when you are allowed to do so, and of course we'll cover that. And the third is called Hajj Ifrad. And Hajj Ifrad is that you do not perform Umrah and you straight go for Hajj, and you put on, when you are going to put on your ihram and you're going to go into the state of ihram, then you only go into the state of ihram for that Hajj. Alright, so that's why we need to decide, people who are going to Hajj, as to what are they planning to do. Are they going to do Hajj Tamattu' or Qiran or Ifrad? It is necessary that we make up, that's what I said, you need your mental planning, you need to decide as to what you plan to do. Because even if you go in group, you can do whatever you feel like. You don't need to, because all what you do with the group is basically travel, and then also and you go to the Hajj places along with the group. Actually what you want to do there, which type of Hajj is on you. You don't need to, nobody's forcing you for that. So you make your plan, and the best is Hajj Qiran, according to the Hanafi school of thought. But the most practical is Hajj Tamattu'. Most practical is Hajj Tamattu'. Because state of ihram is something that is difficult to maintain. To take proper care of ihram is a little difficult. Right? So it's most practical is Hajj Tamattu', although the best is Hajj Qiran. What is ihram? So as I said, it is a state. Alright? And it is a state in order to enter the haram. So now you know what is haram. Haram is a boundary which is defined, and in fact people have gone to Makkah Mukarramah before, for Umrah or Hajj, whatever. When you are driving down from Jeddah to Makkah Mukarramah, there is a place, there is a big, what do you call it? It's a Quran sort of, it's a tunnel, or what do you call it? It's a path, right? It's an arch, right? Which is a Quran sort of a thing on top. And it's very close to the boundary of Haram, but when you enter that, still you drive for another half an hour before you reach the vicinity of Masjid al-Haram. Sorry? Yeah, gate sort of a thing, an arch, whatever. So they have written everywhere, the Haram starts here, or the Haram ends here. So they put those signs on. So Haram, in order to enter into the Haram, there is a state that needs to be there, and which is called ihram. And there are certain acts that become haram when people get into the state of ihram, and that's why it's called ihram. And basically, as I said in the beginning, that we are actually invited by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this journey is the journey of love. And when people take this journey of love, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that, oh my lovers, all of you are coming to me, to meet with me, to be in my house. So whatever is your status, you are like, you are a millionaire or you are a beggar on the street, I want all of you to come in the same physical state. And your spiritual state should be elevated. You have that love, that awe, that fear, that taqwa, that ta'zeem, that respect. That should be your state of the heart. إِنَّ أَكْرَمَكُمْ عِنْدَ اللَّهِ أَتْقَاكُمْ. That the best in the sight of Allah, the most honorable in the sight of Allah, is who has the state of the heart, who has taqwa in his heart. So it doesn't matter who you are, outwardly, physically, your statuses. So you leave all your outward, you put on these two pieces of clothing, and you come to me in that state. So spiritually, the ihram, when people put on ihram, they leave all of these things for the sake of Allah. So people actually, some things become haram on him, and people are ready to do that for the sake of Allah. That's what the spiritual state of ihram is. Where to put on ihram? So it's not only the people who do not live inside the boundaries of haram when they have to enter into haram. There are a few places that you have to cross those places in the state of ihram. And these things are called miqat. And I don't know if you can really properly see here, but there are 8 miqats. There are 8 miqats as defined by the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And people coming from different places, they have all, they enter in from these miqats. So these are the places when people are traveling to Makkah Mukarramah. So this inner circle, this is the boundary of haram. Okay, so the Kaaba in the middle. This inner circle, this is the boundary of haram. And the outer circle, all the miqats, the 8 miqats are located on that outer circle. So for example, if people are coming from Medina Munawwara, this on the left, the one on the top, in the north, is called Dhul Hulayfa. The Dhul Hulayfa is the miqat for the people who are coming from Medina Munawwara. Right? It's very close to Medina Munawwara. It's like almost 16 kilometers outside the boundaries, or even less in fact. Very close to Medina Munawwara. Right? So this is the miqat for the people coming from the north. And then for the people of Iraq, this is Dhat Iraq, or what is that called? No. It's called Dhatu Iraq. Dhatu Iraq, or it's also called Dhatu Iraqin. I think that's what's written here. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's called Dhatu Iraq. Dhatu Irq. I'm sorry. Dhatu Irqin. Yeah, Dhatu Irqin is this place, this miqat, that people come from Iraq. People coming from Sham and that area, it's called Juhfa. Anyway, so we don't need to, you're not doing any academic session here, but what I'm trying to tell you is that there are miqats on our way. And we are supposed to, it's mandated that we enter into the miqat in the state of ihram. So ihram has to be, people have to go into the state of ihram before entering into miqat. Alright, that's very important, because if, for example, our first destination is Makkah Mukarramah and not Medina Munawwara, then before we enter in, we pass miqats, we have to be in the state of ihram. And normally people who are flying and not traveling on road, then there is an announcement made in the airplane that, we are going to enter miqat in, say, half an hour or in 20 minutes. So people go into the state of ihram whoever wants to. So make sure that we are ready right there and then, because if our plane crosses the miqat and we are still not in the state of ihram, then we will have to go back. And if there is no possibility of going back, then there is to compensate for that, the sacrifice has to be made. So make sure that we are in state of ihram before we cross miqat. Alright, it's extremely important, and it will be announced. So it's wajib to enter the state of ihram before crossing this border if intend to enter haram. Alright? And if ihram not entered, then must return back to the border and enter into the state of ihram. Okay, two things. Jeddah is within miqat. Alright, Jeddah is within miqat. So we have people have already crossed the miqat if they are in Jeddah. So if people intend to go to Makkah Mukarramah, they have to be in state of ihram before that. So before miqat. People have landed into Jeddah, that means they've already crossed miqat. Alright? So that means that, okay, there are a few things, practical points. There are a few things that people can do, and inshallah I'll tell you how to enter into the state of ihram, but few things that either you wear the clothing of ihram before you board, and you make the intention right before, whether as soon as the pilot announces that we are going to enter into miqat in 30 minutes, whatever, then you enter into the state of ihram at that time. Or there's also a possibility that you go to the toilet at that time, wear the clothing of ihram, but that not very practical, because there are 300 people in the plane, might be there are 200 people standing outside the toilet, everybody going in one by one, and by the time your turn comes in, you have already crossed miqat, so then you're in loss. So best is that you put on the ihram, the clothing of ihram, make an intention before that, because as I said, the state of ihram requires a few things from us. Certain things become haram on us, so to maintain that state is a little difficult, right? So it's up to you whether you want to do it. But my suggestion would be that people put on the clothing before the board, and they enter into the state by making an intention right when it is announced that we are going to enter into miqat in a few minutes. Alright? So if people are intending to put that in the plane, though I don't recommend that, but still make sure you do not pack it in your checked-in luggage, because if it's in checked-in luggage, somebody put it in there, then what will you do? Right? For women, there is no specific clothing. Inshallah, I'll cover that in a minute as well. Inshallah. If people are going to Medina Munawwara first, right, there are different groups, different schedules. So if people intend to go, even though they are landing in Jeddah, but their intention is to go to Medina Munawwara first. So they're not going to Makkah Mukarramah. So they land in Jeddah, and they take the group, whatever the arrangements are, if they're flying or going in buses. But the plan is that you're going to go to Medina Munawwara first, then they do not need to be in state of ihram, because the intention is not to enter into the boundaries of haram. The intention is to go to Medina Munawwara, which is outside miqat. So now when people are coming back from Medina Munawwara to Makkah Mukarramah, then they have to do ihram at that time. Alright? So though people will be entering into miqat, and it will be announced, but because your plan is that you after landing into Jeddah, you will be going to Medina Munawwara, there's no need to be in state of ihram. Okay, how to enter into the state of ihram? To enter into the state of ihram, there are a few things that are liked. Okay? What the liked things are, the mustahabbat, are clipping of the nails, and there is a sunnah of clipping of the nails as well, by the way. The sunnah is, and whenever you clip the nails, not only for ihram, there is a sunnah. Sunnah is that you raise your hand as if you're making dua. Alright? You start from the right. Leave your thumb, the thumb of the right hand. And then you start from the right, the rightmost finger and the middle finger, and then the next, and then the pinky, and then the next pinky, and and move on to the left, to the thumb of the left hand, and then at the end, you do the thumb of the right hand. This is the sunnah of clipping of the nails. So everybody clips the nails, but we do the sunnah way and we get the reward of clipping of the nails, for clipping of the nails. Right? So raise your hands as if you're making dua. Start from the right, accept the thumb of the right hand. Start from the index finger in the middle and go to the left, all the way to the thumb of the left hand. And then do the thumb of the right hand at the very end. Okay? So clipping of the nails, removing of the armpit hair and the pubic hair is the mustahab, from the liked act before entering into the state of ihram. And of course, if people are doing it like they are planning to enter into the state of ihram in the plane, of course all of that has to be done in before leaving the home. I mean, you don't want to be in the toilet for half an hour, right? Also, what is a sunnah is that you make ghusl, you take a shower, and the sunnah way of doing it is that you make wudu. So do you do istinja? You make wudu, and you put the water on the right and the water on the left, and then over the head. So this is the sunnah way of doing ghusl, of taking a quote-unquote taking shower. Or wudu if people don't have the opportunity to make ghusl. And this ghusl, this shower, I mean shower is very vague term. This ghusl is not for purification, it's for cleanliness. Know that. There's a difference. So when people are in state of major impurity, like in janaba or women coming out of their menstrual cycles, people are in impure state. So to get out of the impure state and enter into the pure state, there is a ghusl, and that's very similar. But this is not to get into the pure state, it's for cleanliness. There's a difference. And the reason I said that is that if people do tayammum instead, if they, for example, do not have water, that will not give them the reward of this ghusl, because that cannot replace that. And two is that even though the people, especially women, or in fact only women, if they are in state of, if they're still in their menstrual cycles and they have not finished that, still they should do that in order to gain the reward, because this is not for purification but for cleanliness. Okay? And it is okay to use scented soap, because still we have not entered into the state of haram. I'll tell you in a minute what becomes haram when people enter into the state of haram. So after taking shower, ghusl, then the men should apply a little bit of scent or itar on their bodies. But that should be so less that they should not remain the body of the itar on the body. So confusing. Huh? So there should not be any itar left on the body, so that if you touch your body, that it comes out of it, comes off it. That's how it should be put on. It's a sunnah to put the itar after taking ghusl, but it should be so light that it should get absorbed in the skin. So if, for example, you put on clothes, and if you rub it, right, nothing should come off your bodies and should touch on your clothing. This is how little it should be. For women, it's not. In fact, women should not be putting on perfumes. It's so much perfume that it spreads, because this is something that is prohibited. This part of their hijab, that they should not put strong perfumes. So that they should put on perfumes. It should be very, very light. That if somebody comes and hugs them to greet them, only that person should be able to smell that, and not stronger than that. Okay, there is no specific clothing for women. There's no specific clothing for women. They just have to be covered up properly, the way that they cover up, with an exception. I think I've covered that later on. Yeah, let's cover females later. For the males, 2 unstitched white sheets of clothing are their ihram. Right? 2 unstitched white sheets of clothing is their ihram. What do I mean by unstitched? Unstitched does not mean that there's no, what do you call it, hemming? You know, that's what it's called, this thing? What is it called? Hemming. So hemming is okay, it's not stitching. Stitching means not stitched in the shape of the body, right? So no arms stitched. That's what stitching means. So this should be plain cloth. 2 unstitched white sheets of clothing. That's what the stitching is. And must remove all other clothing. So no undergarments, no socks, no shoes, no hats, nothing. It should only be 2 sheets of clothing. And sandals are worn, but there is a ruling that this central upper bone should be uncovered. So this middle central upper bone of the feet, they should be uncovered. And the sandal that I'm showing here, this is the type of the sandal that should be worn. I mean, if you can see that, the middle part, the upper middle part of the foot remains uncovered with this sort of a sandal. Alright? The clothing the ihram for women is regular stitched clothes. Anything can be worn. Hijab should be worn. Socks, shoes, etc. No, there's no restriction as such. With one thing, that women who wear niqab, the niqab cannot touch the face. Does not mean that they should not wear niqab. Does not mean that. It means that the niqab should not touch the face. And the way that this can be done is different ways, that either they can have this baseball sort of a cap, right, which is a long hood, and they can put their niqab on top of that so that it's hanging in front of their faces. This is one way to do that. Or some people even they have visors that they can put visors on, and they can wear niqab on top. The idea is that the cloth should not touch their faces. That's how they should wear their niqab. And if women, they are still in their monthly cycles, they should also put on the clothing of ihram. So they should also go into the state of ihram, even though they're not pure before they have entered, they have crossed the miqat. They can still go into the state of ihram. How to enter into the state of ihram? So now people have put on these clothings, but they are still not into the state of ihram. The way to enter into the state of ihram is that you pray 2 rak'ahs, sunnah, with the intention of ihram. And in the first rak'ah, the sunnah is to recite after Fatiha, Surah Al-Kafirun, Surah Qul Ya Ayyuhal Kafirun. And in the second rak'ah, the sunnah is to recite Surah Al-Ikhlas, Qul Huwallahu Ahad. Make sure that this time when you're praying the sunnah is not from the makruh or the haram times. And also the women who are still in their monthly cycle, of course, they cannot read the prayer. Right? So there are 3 timings when people cannot pray, which are haram, which is right at the sunrise time. As soon as the sun rises, almost 5 to 10 minutes after the sunrise. When the sun is right in the middle, right at the peak, that's haram. And right before it's setting, maybe 5 to 10 minutes before it's setting. These are the timings when people cannot pray. And also if people have prayed their Asr prayer, people are done with their Asr prayer, it's also makruh to pray any prayer after that. So make sure that you again plan it in advance. That's what I meant by having a mental planning. Make sure that if you know that you are going to pray Asr and there's still some time, you're waiting, the bus is going to go 2 hours later, maybe half an hour before Maghrib, whatever. Make sure that you enter into the state of ihram right before you have prayed your Asr prayer. Alright, so do good planning in your head. And when praying these 2 rak'ahs, it's okay for men to cover their head at this time. It's because they have still not entered into the state of ihram yet. Know that. State of ihram they will be entering the state of ihram after this prayer, and I will tell you how. So once you're done with the prayer, the 2 rak'ahs, remain seated in the direction of the Qibla. If men are covering their head, only men, they uncover their head, and then make the niyyah for the ihram. And also that should include the type of the act that's intended. So for example, if you are going to perform Hajj Tamattu, which is Umrah, taking off Ihram, and then doing the Hajj later on, like putting the Ihram later on for Hajj, so make an intention, I'm making this, putting on this Ihram for the Umrah. If you are like putting on Ihram for the Hajj, make an intention you are putting on this Ihram for Hajj. If you are doing Quran, then it's Umrah and Hajj, make an intention that you are putting on this Ihram for Umrah and Hajj together. So make an intention. An intention is of the heart. It can be verbal, but the key is the intention is of the heart. It doesn't have to be verbal. Some of the intentions are written here. Allahumma inni uridu al-umrata fayassirha li wa taqabbalha minni. That, oh Allah, I make an intention for Umrah, so please make it easy for me and accept it from me. And accept it from me. Again and again, you have to be in that state of the heart. Ya Allah, please accept it. Ya Allah, please accept it. Ya Allah, it's from your tawfiq that you can make it easy. Please make it easy. Allahumma inni uridu al-hajja wal-umrata fayassirhuma li wa taqabbalhuma minni. That, oh Allah, for Quran, that, oh Allah, I make an intention for Hajj and Umrah both. So please make both of them easy for me and accept both of them from me. Allahumma inni uridu al-hajja fayassirhu li wa taqabbalhu minni. And if it's only ifrad, only for Hajj, that, oh ya Allah, I make an intention for Hajj, please make it easy for me and accept it from me. Okay? So it's better to say it verbal, but silent is accepted. You can make it in the heart. So intention is actually of the heart. And doesn't have to be these words in Arabic. You can do it in your own language, or English, or Hungarian, or whatever. Punjabi, Pashto, whatever you like. Right? Urdu. If you want to say it with the tongue. And if you're performing Hajj on somebody's behalf, then you make sure that you also take that person's name, accept it from him. And the intention is a very important thing. Intention is the key, my friends. Because the ayah that I recited in the beginning, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, أَتِمُّ الْحَجَّ وَالْعُمْرَةَ لِلَّهِ. That you perform Umrah and Hajj for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we need to make sure that our intention is right. Because if it's done only for the sake of Allah, then there are chances of getting that accepted. But if we have any other intention mixed with that, I'm going to go back, people are going to call me Haji. Hajj. I'm going to go back, and people are going to respect me more because I've come back from Hajj. People have been saying all my life, you've never gone to Hajj, never gone to Hajj. Okay, let me go to Hajj so that people are done with their saying, finally he has done Hajj. Should not be any other intention. It's only for the sake of Allah. Allah Ta'ala wants me to go to Hajj. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that that you go to Hajj, and if you do not perform Hajj, then Allah Ta'ala is free from you. Allah Ta'ala doesn't want you. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that if somebody has the ability to go to Hajj, and if he does not perform Hajj, then Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I don't care if he dies a Christian or a Jew. So these are the feelings that people need to have in their hearts. I'm only doing it for your sake, and I'm fulfilling your command and obeying you. That's it. And the thing is that the intention has to be checked again and again and again. At the start, in the middle, at every step, at the end. What is my intention? It should be checked, double checked, triple checked. Has to be checked all the time. Need to make sure that we have the right intention right throughout. It's extremely, extremely important. Alright? Now I'm going to skip a few slides as well, but mashallah you have it, you can read it later. So, this is a sign of the day of judgment. Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam already said that. A time will come when people will, the rich people will go to Hajj as tourists for enjoyment and amusement. The middle class people will go for Hajj to engage in trade and businesses. The poor people will go to Hajj to beg. And the ulama, the scholars will go to Hajj to gain name and fame. So shaitan comes and tries to distract our intentions, change our intention. We need to make sure that that's why we need to keep checking it. Alright, so intention is important. So after people pray these 2 rak'ahs, make an intention in the heart, whatever language, doesn't matter. Just ask Allah that Allah makes it easy for us and please accept it from us. And then recite something called talbiha. Talbiha are these words. لبيك اللهم لبيك لبيك لا شريك لك لبيك إن الحمد والنعمة لك والملك لا شريك لك. So people either should have it written or memorize it, whatever, but to recite this once is wajib, mandatory, and to recite it 3 times is sunnah after praying those 2 rak'ahs. And know that people cannot enter into the state of ihram without reciting the talbiha. It is important to recite the talbiha. Once is wajib, 3 times is sunnah. What does it mean? It means, Ya Allah, labbaik, Allahumma labbaik. I'm here at your service, Ya Allah. I'm here at your service. I'm at your service, Ya Allah. There is nobody. You do not have any partner. I'm at your service. All the praise and all the blessings belong to you, and all the dominion belongs to you. There is no partner with you. And men recite this loudly, in a loud voice, and women recite it softly, so that nobody except them listens to that. But it cannot be in the heart. It has to be with the tongue. It has to be with words. Women softly and men loudly. And this talbiyah, people should memorize that, because it should be something that should be continuously recited throughout the journey. And I'll tell you when it stops, inshallah. But people should recite it throughout their journey of Hajj, of Umrah. Basically, where it ends is that when people are going for Umrah, so right before they start the Tawaf, they stop it, then there is no talbiyah after that. So basically there is no talbiyah in the Tawaf or in the Sa'i. And if people don't know what that is, inshallah I'll tell you that as well. And when people are going for Hajj, so they have to recite talbiyah all along, and they end on the 10th of Dhul Hijjah, right before stoning the Jamarat for the first time. Okay, so that's where it ends in Umrah and Hajj. And what is talbiyah? Talbiyah is that when Prophet Ibrahim alayhi salam, he built the Kaaba on the order of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Then he said to Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, that is Allah ordered Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam, that call people for Hajj. It's in the Quran. That call people for Hajj. Sayyidina Ibrahim alayhi salam said, how can I call people for Hajj? It's only me, my son. How can I call anybody? There were no cell phones, no PA systems. How can I call? No satellites. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, you call, I will take your message to everybody. I'll take your message to everybody, to people of the past and people of the future. And it comes in the hadith that when he said he called people for Hajj, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala took his message and put into the hearts of the people. And there were people who responded. Some people responded, said, Labbaik, that I am at your service. Here am I. Some people said it once, some people said it twice, some people said it thrice. It comes in the books that the number of times that people responded to that call, Allah Ta'ala gives them tawfiq to go to Hajj that many number of times in their lifetime. So it's representing, it's the answer to the call of Allah. Labbaik, Allahumma, Labbaik. I'm here, Ya Allah. You call me for Hajj, here am I. You invited me to your house, Labbaik. Okay? This is what it is. Say, Ya Allah, I'm here at your service. And there has to be a state of the heart by saying Labbaik, when saying Labbaik. We have to be totally engrossed and connected to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when saying Labbaik, Ya Allah. Labbaik literally means, here am I. It's not just mere saying a few words from the tongue. It is actually saying, it's the state of the heart. In the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, when people say Labbaik, قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم ما من مسلم يلبي إلا لبي من عن يمينه وشماله من حجر أو شجر أو مدر حتى تنقطع الأرض من ها هنا وها هنا. Subhanallah. Is that the Muslim does not call the talbiyah except that from his right and from his left, every stone free in the ground also recites the same to the end of the earth. So, all the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He joins in the talbiyah of the person who is going to Hajj or Umrah. And the state people of our past who had this love of Allah in their hearts, who knew who Allah is, who they are and who is Allah, what is their state in front of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? When they said labbaik, their hearts shook. Their hearts literally shook. It comes from Sayyidina Ali Zain al-Abidin radiyallahu anhu rahmatullah alayh. He used to enter into the ihram and his face would become pale. His body would start shaking. And he would not even be able to recite labbaik. What I'm doing, labbaik. Who am I to say labbaik? He was going to that strange state. And when it was asked why, he said that I'm so fearful, I'm so scared that I say labbaik, I'm here, and a voice comes because of my sin, somebody calls from the sky, la labbaik. Who are you to come? Do you know what you have been doing all your life? So people would go into that sort of state. So people have to have that state as well when they say labbaik, Allahumma labbaik. So another thing is, an important thing is that, need to make sure that if for example you are going to Makkah Mukarramah first, my suggestion would be do not enter into the state of ihram from your house. Don't do that. And put on this clothing, like do all the prereqs, do your clipping of the nail, cutting of the pubic hair, etc. Put on the clothing, right? But do not enter into the state of ihram. State of ihram is entered by doing what? Huh? No, how do you enter into the state of ihram? How do you enter? One thing that takes you into the state of ihram, what is that? No. What is that? Talbiyah. Talbiyah is the thing that takes you into the state of ihram. So do not recite talbiyah, and only after you are in the plane, because it's also possible as Hajj. Right? It's possible that you enter into the state of ihram, may Allah forbid, may Allah protect all of us, but what if, you go, like, you somehow are not able to go to the airport. You get into an accident, for example. May Allah protect us, but, we don't know. So, until you are in the plane, don't make an intention. This is my recommendation to you. Because the thing is that you cannot get out of the state of ihram. The only way that you can get out of the state of ihram is by sacrificing in Makkah Mukarramah. So do not enter into the state of ihram. You can put everything, you can everything. Don't say labbaik. Don't enter into the state of ihram until and after you are into the plane. You are seated there. I can still remember when I went to Hajj long time ago. I was in Chicago and my flight was from New York. And so I had to take a flight from Chicago to New York and had to catch a connecting flight. So when I reached the Chicago airport, the flight was cancelled to New York. It was cancelled. And now I said, mashallah, Hajj is starting right here. So alhamdulillah, there was the airline people, and there was very little time between the connecting flights. So they put me on a flight, but it was like an hour or two later. And it was very little time left. And I also had to change airports in New York. So I landed at LaGuardia, and I had to catch the next flight from JFK. So when I got the next flight, I was with my wife. So, and as soon as we landed, it started snowing in New York. And we got out, there was nothing, it was snowing heavily. I was thinking, it's very little time left, how can I, reach to the next airport, because the traffic was stuck then, and subhanAllah. And alhamdulillah, eventually, we were rushing, and took the taxi, went to the next airport, but alhamdulillah, that Allah Ta'ala, because of that snow, the next flight also got delayed. And God did it until the next day, by the way. But what I'm saying is that it's all possible. It's all possible. So, I mean, if I enter into the state of Ihram, and because I'm going to Makkah Mukarramah, and and then somehow the flight gets cancelled, or something happens, you get sick, right? You are vomiting, you're not able to catch your flight, whatever. Then it becomes difficult. So, practical point is make sure that you make an intention only after you're in the plane. Alright? So there are certain things that become prohibited when people enter into the state of Ihram. Now you should know there is a difference between the clothing of Ihram and the state of Ihram. Alright? The prohibited acts are, number one, any sort of romance. Right? Between husband and wife. Of course, it can only be done between husband and wife. Any sort of verbal, physical, kissing, embracing, touching, any sort of romance is prohibited. Okay, even so much so, verbal sort of romance is also prohibited. Sexual intercourse, it breaks the ihram and it invalidates the Hajj. That's something that is like the biggest blunder. What is also prohibited is any sort of hunting or even assisting in hunting. Even killing an ant becomes prohibited. Applying fragrance on bodies, clothes, in any sort of manner. That means using soap with fragrance. And almost every soap has fragrance. If you read the ingredients of the soap, almost every soap has fragrance in it. There are few medicated soaps that are without fragrance. So make sure that if you have to use soaps, that you get a non-perfume soap with you, along with you in your luggage. Alright? Deodorants, cologne, perfume, scented towelettes. Because normally it's very common, in the airplanes, sometimes it comes in with the meal, right? So it's all scented. Make sure if you're in state of ihram, it's prohibited to use that. Any sort of fragrance, it is not allowed to use that. Removing hair or nails from any part of the body is prohibited after entering into the state of ihram. If anything falls naturally, that's fine, but anything is enforced, that's haram. That also means that when people comb their hair, it's almost natural. Almost natural that some of the hair may fall for the combing. So that's why people should not even comb their hair when they are in the state of ihram. Because it's the very much possibility that the hair may get pulled, and which is not allowed. Also running the fingers, styling your hair, don't do that. Allah Ta'ala loves you seeing in that state, a traveler with dirt on us, and hair not combed properly. Allah Ta'ala loves that state. We're not going there to show ourselves off to some other people. We're going there for the sake of Allah. So don't worry about yourself. So if they fall off naturally, then it's fine. Don't worry about that, but make sure that you do not force that thing to happen. Also what's prohibited is stitched clothing. That is in the shape of the body, as I said. Or to cover here the front, top, central bone of your feet. For men, not for women. Women, as I said, everything is okay to wear, right, except touching the clothing on the face. Covering of the head or the face covering of the head of the man is also prohibited. And face, as I said, no cloth can touch the face, men and women. These are all prohibited acts during the ihrams, in the state of ihram. Now you know that there are a few things that are a little difficult. That's why I said if you're a long flight, people coming from, say, from the UK, it's an 8-hour flight or something like that, So you do everything that's supposed to prereqs, but make an intention right before miqat. But make sure that you please make your intention before miqat. Otherwise it becomes very messy and then it's becomes very difficult. What is also prohibited is fighting or arguing with anybody, even if you're right. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, what is that ayah? فَلَا رَفَثَ وَلَا فُسُوقَ وَلَا جِدَالَ فِي الْحَجِّ. So there is no, rafath means intercourse, fusuq, sin, no sins, wala jidal, no fighting, no arguing. It's not allowed in state of ihram. Even people come to you and try to, do things that you don't like. Even if you are right, they are wrong, make sure that you do not argue. It's something that's not allowed in the state of ihram. And anyway this is a practice, we should not do it outside the ihram as well, but specifically in the state of ihram, it becomes totally prohibited. So make sure that you have extreme patience. There are a few things that are permissible. People often think that they might not be permissible as well. To take umbrella for a shade, or any sort of shade, that as far as does not touch your head, is fine. Wearing the rings, glasses, hearing aids, watches, belt, that's all fine. Wearing a backpack, that's fine. It's also fine to remove the clothing of ihram. It's fine, for example, some filth falls on your ihram, it gets dirty, whatever. You can get another pair and change it. It's not an issue. To taking off, it's fine. Even women can change their clothes, doesn't matter. Right? So once you get into the state of ihram, then you are in the state of ihram. So these are just the signs that you are in state of ihram. So you can change that. It's not an issue. Alright? It's also permissible to wash the body, but should not specifically be done to remove the dirt. As I said, if you're dirty, it's fine. Allah Ta'ala loves that state of ours. But if you're really sweating, person sitting next to us can't even sit next to us, it's fine, go take a shower. But make sure, no fragrance, no shampoos, right? Make sure not combing your hair, not rubbing your hair so the hair fall off from your hair. Make sure that, it's just like flowing water over our bodies, that's it, right? It's allowed, alright? You can use unscented soap. But you're small, people didn't have soaps like some time ago. Now if you don't use soaps after doing istinja, we have very strange feeling, right? As if it's still dirty. But if people really wash rigorously, properly, then the hands are washed. Don't worry. These are all marketing campaigns, antibacterial soaps and this and that. 99.9% bacteria is removed. There's still 0.01 there, by the way. But if it has to hurt you, it'll hurt you in any way. Right? It's also okay to cover your body with a blanket or a sleeping bag. So even the sleeping bags are stitched, but they are not stitched in the form of the body, right? That's what the key. So it's okay. But the face and the head must be uncovered for men. Face and the head, so if you're sleeping, taking a blanket on you, make sure that your face is uncovered and your head is uncovered. It's also okay to use pillows. No issues with that, even though that your head is, part of your head is covered with the pillow, no issues. Using miswak is okay as well, no problem. Carrying load or luggage on the head, no, people don't do it but if somebody has to do it, it's fine. If people are sneezing, to cover the face with a tissue paper, it's fine, no issues. If people make wudu or wash their faces, to use a towel to clean to the face, to dry it up, it's fine, no issues with that. Alright? So people should know this very well, that what are the permissible acts and what are the impermissible acts of ihram. Okay, so now imagine if you are doing Hajj Tamattu. What is Hajj Tamattu? So your name Mujahid. What is Hajj Tamattu?
So you do the Umrah first, you enter the state of Ihram.
You
enter the state of Ihram for the Umrah, and then you leave it, and then go back into the state.
MashaAllah. So Hajj Tamattu is that you do Umrah before Hajj, and also do separate ihrams for Umrah and the Hajj. So you do Umrah, get out of the state of ihram, and then do your put on a new ihram for Hajj, and then get out of that state whenever it's allowed. Alright? So just assume you are doing Hajj Tamattu, and I'll cover like very briefly, very quickly, what are the differences for Hajj Qiran and Ifrad. So, assume you're going to Makkah Mukarramah. So Medina Munawwara is not an issue, right? If you're going to Medina Munawwara, you wear your normal clothes without intention, nothing, you land into Jeddah, if you're landing into Jeddah, you take your buses, next connecting flights, whatever, to Medina Munawwara, reach Medina Munawwara and stay there. So now assume that either you are coming from Medina Munawwara, or you are going to Makkah Mukarramah directly. So you have to be in the state of ihram. We have covered that before miqat. Remember that. You arrive in Jeddah, right? No, so you have to go through your immigration. People who have not been to Hajj. You will handle your passports and you will check in with your muallim. And no, your passports will not be with you throughout the Hajj. They will take your passports and they don't return back to you. Don't run after them, where my passports are. They are going to keep you, and I'm amazed at the way that Allah Ta'ala protects the passport. SubhanAllah, literally, I'm not like making it up, it's not exaggeration. They take all the passports, the big bag, like garbage bag, and they dump all of those passports in there. And you, at the end of the day, when you're leaving, they go and they take all of them out, and they're sorting where is, Mr. Mujahid's passport, and they'll figure out and they'll hand it over to you. It's amazing. It's only Allah Ta'ala who does that. I mean, subhanAllah. So they'll take your passports and they'll keep it with you. So don't worry about that. This is something that they do it. Alright? And then there are organizers, and they will sort your group out, things like that, etc., etc. And then they will transport you to Makkah Mukarramah. Know that it is all of this process. After landing into Jeddah, till you board your buses or whatever to Makkah Mukarramah, it can take anywhere from 3 to 4 hours to 10 to 15 hours. Be patient. I'm just preparing you mentally. Expectations, don't get hurt. You can sleep, eat. There, mashallah, there is a whole city at the Jeddah airport. There are shops, there are not restaurants, but there are cafeterias. MashaAllah, everything is there. I mean, only thing is there are no beds, so you have to be patient there. That's it. You may get tired, but you have to be patient there. Remember, وَلَا رَفَثَ وَلَا فُسُوقَ وَلَا جِدَالَ فِي الْحَجِّ. No argumentation, no fighting, be patient. Hajj is patience. Be patient. We are here for Allah. It's Allah's favor that He has brought us to this blessed land. If Allah Ta'ala had not invited me, how would I have been there? Please be patient. If the person calls you, or the king calls you in his palace, and you go to his palace, and and there is no guard who is there to welcome you, will you be complaining? Nobody welcomed me. It's in a favor of the king that he has invited me to his palace. That's it. If he doesn't offer me food, if there's no guard, there's no red carpet, doesn't matter. Who am I? So it's even like there is no comparison, but Allah has invited us to his palace. So make sure no complaints. Alright? Have the right expectations. And then after you are transported, I'll tell you one more thing. I don't know, everybody's plan is different. But the first thing that we need to do now is Umrah, right, of Hajj Tamattu. I recommend every single person that you go check in your hotels. Don't rush for anything. Go check in, especially with people with families, with wives. Your wives and your kids, whoever is with you, are your responsibility. They are your responsibility. You need to make sure that you are taking proper care of them. Right? So check in your hotels properly with sukoon. Don't worry don't rush into anything. I know some of you are, in fact, all of you should be very, excited or, dying to go and look at the Kaaba. But, be realistic as well. Go check into the hotels, put your luggage in, get your rooms, whatever. And I personally recommend all of you that you take proper rest before Umrah. Don't rush into Umrah. Because Umrah is not something that, you just want to be over with that. You have to be in the relaxed state of mind. You should make sure that you are properly rested if you're coming after a 15-hour flight, especially like 8-hour flight plus like 10 hours at the airport. You're extremely tired. Don't rush into it. Take proper rest, take proper food, make sure that you are relieved, there's nothing that you have to take care of. And also another thing that when you go to Umrah, to perform Umrah normally takes, in the Hajj times, it can take up to 3 hours. Because very crowded, it can take up to 3 hours. So make sure that there are no prayers coming in between the Umrah. So my recommendation, just recommendation, no fard wajib mustahab. My recommendation is do after Isha or do after Fajr. So that you have full 3 hours before the next prayer. There are no prayers coming because the next prayer comes right in the middle. The safs will be lined up and you are right in the middle. You are with your wife or with your friends, relatives, whatever. It is a possibility that you can lose them and then you will be like, all your time and your focus will be lost in searching for them and finding them and, then restarting, etc., etc. So make sure that best is that you do not start your Umrah until, and number one, you're rested properly, you have food, you have energy, and you have time. Okay? When you're going towards Jeddah, from Jeddah to Makkah Mukarramah or Medina Munawwarah to Makkah Mukarramah, so there will come, as I said, will come a sign, or it says the Haram starts here. Haram is, as I said, the boundary outside Makkah Mukarramah. Haram literally symbolizes the court of the king. And you need to make sure that we have the right state of the heart when we are entering into that court. We should have the words from our tongue, Labbaik, Allahumma Labbaik, Allah, I'm here at your service. And we have to have that connection in our heart with Allah Ta'ala. We should imagine as we are entering into the court of the king, this should be the state of our heart. Extreme humility, extreme humility. There are du'as that you can find in the book. One is written here, Allahumma inna hada haramuka wa haram rasulika فحرم لحمي ودمي وعزمي وبشري على النار. That, Ya Allah, this is your haram and the haram of your Prophet. So please make my flesh, my blood, and my bones and myself on the fire. And Ya Allah, save me from the punishment of the Day of Judgment. And Ya Allah, make me from your friends, from your awliya, and from the people of your obedience. And please forgive me. Indeed, you are the forgiving, the merciful. So if you have any dua book, you can get that from there. And as I said, this is exactly what I said, settle properly. As I said, make sure that you're relieved, go to toilet, relieve yourself, make new wudu. Okay, one thing is that women who are still in the state of menstruation, they cannot go to the masjid. It's haram to enter into the masjid for women in the state of menstruation. So they cannot enter into the masjid. They cannot. So, also there is proper planning needs to be done. If women feel that this is the time when they're going there, this is time of their cycles, well, again, not a fard wajib sunnah thing, recommendation is that if they can take that contraception medicine to delay their cycles, that's not a bad idea. That's allowed, that's okay. Alright, but plan for it. Plan for it. If you feel that this is something that you may encounter, then please plan for it and start taking and consult the doctor and get those and start taking it whenever they recommend for you to take that. Alright, so it's okay, nothing wrong with that, absolutely. But still, one thing that you have to keep in your mind, despite the fact that women are taking their medicines, still there's a slight chance that the periods may occur still. Alright, so make sure that if these are your days, and if you start bleeding, then consult a scholar in that case. I mean, that's why you need to make sure that you have a number that you can consult for your condition. Whenever you're rested, you're going to the masjid. Okay, so it may happen that you're waiting for the proper time, as I said, and there are prayers that are coming. My recommendation, again, a small recommendation, is that you do not go and look at the Kaaba yet. The reason is the first side of the Kaaba is the du'as are accepted. This is a lifetime's opportunity. Every time you go and look at the Kaaba for the first time, the du'as are accepted. So, I mean, say for example, if you reach before Maghrib, you pray Maghrib and Isha, so that the Saf will be right outside the masjid. You just pray there. Come back, rest. Go pray Isha, come back, rest. Women don't even need to go for Maghrib and Isha. In any way, the Jama'ah, the congregation is not a fard or a wajib on women. They can pray in their hotel rooms if they're really tired. Don't exhaust yourself. Save your energy for the right things. I know everybody is very excited, but use your common sense. Use your common sense. Alright, so don't exhaust yourself. Make sure you save your energy because you need your energy. Alright, so after Isha, I would recommend maybe say an hour after Isha, when people are already, who have come for the prayer, they've done their tawaf and everything, then you go to the masjid. Expect a lot of crowd. But when going towards the masjid, again, same thing. Know the state of your heart. Know that, make sure that you have extreme humility in your heart. Extreme humility in your heart. The sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ was to enter from Babu Salam. Don't worry about that. So just for your academics, don't worry about entering from Babu Salam. It's a sunnah, but Hajj is very crowded. There are like 3-4 million people there. So not everything is possible. So we have to, again, use our common sense. Alright, but it's a sunnah to enter from the Babu Salam. When you enter into the masjid, the sunnahs of entering into the masjid, remember that, enter with your right foot, make the dua, and Allahumma ftah li abwab rahmatik, bismillah wa salatu wa salamu ala rasulillah, Allahumma ftah li abwab rahmatik, right, and also make an intention of the i'tikaf, nawaitu sunnat al-i'tikaf. Alright, there is no tahiyyatul masjid in Masjid al-Haram. Alright, there is no tahiyyatul masjid in Masjid al-Haram. The tahiyyah, the greeting of the Masjid al-Haram is the tawaf. There is no tahiyyatul masjid of Masjid al-Haram. Alright, so this map, I mean, you cannot see that, and even the slide pack doesn't show that. Just gives you a rough idea where the Babu Salam is. And the one is Babu Salam and the other is Babu Umrah. So you can, that's highlighted. Don't worry much about it. If your hotel seems to be at that side, then it's fine. It's your good luck, mashallah, that you are able to enter from Babu Salam. Do not worry about that. Please make sure. Alright? So then, okay. Again, a recommendation. Once you enter into the masjid, so the masjid is, like if I go back, see there are doors, right? They're all the doors of the masjid. And there is something in the middle, which is the court of the masjid, courtyard of the masjid. And the Kaaba is right in the middle. All this area, that the inner portion that you can see, that is called, something called mataf. Mim, ta, alif, fa. Mataf. Mataf is the place where tawaf is done. Tawaf means circling, like making circles around the Kaaba. So, once you enter from a gate, there is quite a walk until the mataf area. Make sure that you do one of the two things. Either put your head down if you know Haram, Masjid al-Haram, sorry. If you have ideas about Masjid al-Haram, you've been there, you keep your head down You keep walking until you reach the mataf area. There will be stairs, up, down, etc. Make sure that you are not falling down. Right? So take care of the stairs. So you enter straight into the mataf, and once you enter the mataf area, which is like, which is the open area, right, as people have been there, then you raise your head and look at the Kaaba, and then you make dua there. And make dua with a lot of humility and ask whatever you want. Whatever you want. Don't be shy. Don't be shy. People, I don't know why people shy from asking from Allah. What's the point? Ask everything. رَبَّنَا آتِنَا فِي الدُّنْيَا حَسَنَةً وَفِي الْآخِرَةِ حَسَنَةً. Allah, give me all good of this dunya and all good of the hereafter. Allah Ta'ala teaching this dua in the Quran. I don't know why people feel shy from Allah. Ask anything. You want children, ask for children. You ask a husband, ask for a husband. You need a wife, ask for a wife. You want a good job, ask for a job. You want a car, ask for a car. Whatever you want. But know that this is all is good to ask. Also ask for your akhirah. Make sure that you ask Allah Ta'ala His love. Don't forget that. There's a dua of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Allahumma inni as'aluka hubbaka wa hubba man yuhibbuka. Ya Allah, you grant me your love and the love of the people that you love. Ya Allah, you grant me your love and grant me the love of the people that you love. Ask Allah His love. Very few people ask Allah Ta'ala His love. Ask Allah that, Ya Allah, you want that I love you. وَالَّذِينَ آمَنُوا أَشَدُّ حُبًّا لِلَّهِ. Ya Allah, grant me your love. It's Allah who gives love, who puts love in the hearts of the people. So make sure you ask Allah Ta'ala His love. You ask Allah Ta'ala good life, good ending, and ending with a kalima on our tongue. You ask Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala save you from the punishment of the dunya, from the punishment of the grave, punishment of the hereafter. Ask Allah Ta'ala every single thing, all the good of this dunya and the hereafter. Ask Him. Ask, if you're sick, ask Him. Anything. Alright? And if you are not very familiar with the Masjid al-Haram, and you enter, know that you can see Kaaba sometime from some gates. As soon as you enter, you can have a glimpse of the Kaaba. So make sure that as soon as you have the glimpse of the Kaaba, stand right there, still ask Allah, make dua. And one thing that my Shaykh told me is that there is one dua that you can ask. Is that, Ya Allah, accept all my du'as that I'm going to ask you. So it's maybe a possibility that you forget a few du'as, the key du'as, and you're then thinking, oh my God, I didn't ask for this and ask for that. If you ask one dua, Ya Allah, accept all my du'as that I'm going to ask you while I'm here, staying here, then inshallah ta'ala that will include every single dua that you will be asking, inshallah ta'ala. Alright? Okay, we'll start with Umrah. Let's take a quick break. Are people bored? Sure? That's what I wanted. Okay, quick break, maybe, because time is running, and I want to cover the key things at least. Inshallah. Alright, so there is one question that I want to clarify again, my friends. Because I told you that what we are going to cover is basically, like, majority of it is from the Hanafi text. So there are differences of opinions. So, like, this is what I'm, mostly covering. I'll cover the key differences where, inshallah, I'll feel that there are key differences, and you may find other people doing some other things. So don't get confused. There are valid differences of opinions. Don't worry about that. Different opinions are a mercy for our nation, our ummah. So, I mean, we should love people for their difference of opinions. They're valid differences of opinions. So please don't get confused on that, okay? Because there is one question, some website Q&A. If you want Hanafi questions, there is a website called askimam.com, org. askimam.org, and this is pure Hanafi fatwa website. So if you are follow Hanafi school, that's where it is. If you want Hanafi Shafi answers, there's a website called qibla.com, qibla.com, and org, I think both. There are Shafi answers, there are Hanafi answers there as well. So I'm just telling you where you can find the traditional answers. So I'm not forcing anybody to do anything, but majority what I'm covering is Mukhtasar al-Quduri, the rulings derived from that, and the other classical Hanafi texts from the early generations. So inshallah, so please don't get confused if you have any other things. We should try to understand difference of opinions. SubhanAllah. This is what our Ummah has been doing all 1400 years. It's mercy. It's not tension. So please, we can cover that. Once you come back from Hajj, we can have another session, inshallah, with the difference of opinions, inshallah. If you want, of course. Alright, 5-minute quick break.